Salem, Massachusetts was founded in 1626 by Roger Conant. As residents of the Puritan Massachusetts Bay Colony, residents of Salem were required to follow strict Puritan and Calvinist social rules, including strict gender roles and strict religious ideology. The Salem Heritage Trail is a self-guided 90-minute tour that takes visitors through many historical sites in Salem. One of the first stops on the Salem Heritage Trail is the First Church in Salem, a parish to which many of those accused during the Salem witch trials belong. The Salem witch trials are one of the most famous American examples of the dangers of mass hysteria and religious extremism. From 1692 to 1693, over 300 people were accused of witchcraft. Many were older women or women who violated strict Puritan social norms. As a result of the witch trials, 20 people were executed. Some famous examples include Sarah Good, a well-known beggar woman in Salem, Sarah Osborne, a widow who had dared to claim her late husband's estate for herself, and Bridget Bishop, a woman who was known in Salem for dressing provocatively according to Puritan social standards. The memorial to the victims of the Salem witch trials, dedicated by Elie Wiesel, is a well-known stop on the Salem Heritage Trail. Standing out in what some may consider a contrast to the memorial dedicated by Elie Wiesel are some other stops along the Salem Heritage Trail, such as the Witch Village Mall. Every year, especially around Halloween, Salem attracts about 1 million tourists who spend upwards of $100 million in the wax museums, ghost tours, and themed shops. Even a sign outside the First Church in Salem seems to be trying to get in on the fun, with a spooky font a la R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. Another well-known stop on the Salem Heritage Trail is a statue of the lead character from the television show Bewitched, a show that filmed several scenes in Salem. All this is not to say that it is wrong for people to seek a good time in Salem. However, you also have to wonder, at what point does using a human rights atrocity as themed decor start to become distasteful? One of the sites on the Salem Heritage Trail that seems to have escaped Disneyfication is the Charter Street Cemetery, one of the oldest cemetery in Salem and one of the oldest cemeteries in the United States. While walking through the cemetery, I reflected on how the victims of the Salem witch trials may be remembered. The commodification of the Salem witch trials and the ever-present witch iconography around Salem seems to lend some legitimacy to the idea that the victims of the Salem witch trials truly were witches, not victims of violent misogyny and religious fanaticism. The modification of the Salem witch trials also tends to portray the witch trials as a little bit of a historical oopsie, rather than the end result of hundreds of years of religious persecution of women who did not fit into strict social standards. Another stop on the Salem Heritage Trail is the Judge Jonathan Corwin House, known locally as the Witch House. This is the only home still standing in Salem that has direct ties to the 1692 witch trials. Charter Street Cemetery Welcome Center, located in the Samuel Pickman House, is another site that attempts to provide a more historically legitimate view of Salem. While there are legitimate historical sites to be seen in Salem alongside witch mansions and nightmare tours, I also wondered as I walked through, how do the implicit biases that people bring to Salem affect how they interact with the history? I was also glad to see, as I walked the Heritage Trail, a new exhibit coming to the Peabody Essex Museum, Reckoning and Reclaiming of the Salem Witch Trials. Although I haven't personally seen this exhibit yet, I hope that based on the descriptions on the Peabody Essex Museum website, it may begin to tackle some of the historical misconceptions about the witch trials and shed some new light and understanding on the historical trauma caused by the witch trials. Overall, my view of Salem as a historically valuable site still remains high. I only hope that visitors to Salem aren't too drawn in by cartoon witches and gift shops to also remember the human rights atrocities that happened there.